Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So today folks, I'm hoping this will be a very interesting video. I was reading around on the gear page this morning, as I do way too often, and I found a thread talking about fuzz pedals, and in particular germanium transistors and how they vary with temperature. Now this is something I've heard a lot about over the years, people saying their fuzzes sound very different one day to the next, but it's not something I have a huge amount of experience with myself, because I live in the UK where the temperature is fairly constant all year round, but of course in other parts of the world the temperature from one season to the next can be extraordinarily different. So I wanted to put this to the test today. So I'm going to use this pedal here, which is a Cornell First Fuzz. Now this is essentially a germanium fuzz face. It was built by one of the guys who worked on the original fuzz faces for Dallas Arbiter back in the 60s, and this one has NKT275 transistors in it. So it's kind of as an original germanium 60s fuzz face as you can get. Now I will say I have already shot the footage for this video for reasons I'm going to explain now, so I do kind of know what's going to happen today. What I did this morning is I put this pedal for 3 hours downstairs in the freezer, so it got it absolutely arctic cold, and when I took it out and plugged it in, the pedal was actually frosty. It looked really cool. After I'd shot some footage with it, I then heated up the internals with a hairdryer to the point where it was kind of like out in the sun in the desert all day hot. I couldn't actually pick the pedal up, it was so hot. Now I will show this in the footage, but when it was fresh out from underneath the hairdryer, it was so hot it almost stopped passing audio. So as I said, I will show that, but I did have to let it cool for a couple of minutes just to the point where it actually started to work again. And then after that I left it on top of my amp for a couple of hours to bring it back down to room temperature as a kind of control. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to edit those 3 chunks of footage together to show how this pedal behaves and sounds at different extreme temperatures. Now, I am going to use a Gibson guitar today because, of course, when you're demoing a fuzz pedal, it's generally that happens that people use either a Strat or a Tele. Kind of single coils and the fuzz face seem to really work. The reason I'm going to use a Gibson today is because it has knob pointers on it, so I can test the cleanup of this pedal at exact kind of volume settings, whereas of course on a Fender guitar you might have the numbers but no knob pointers or no numbers at all, so it's a bit more sort of guesswork. So to keep things as accurate as possible, I'm going to use my SG today so I can test the cleanup at specific settings. So without further ado guys, let's see how a fuzz pedal behaves at 3 different extreme temperatures. So here we go. there we are, folks. Now, please do comment underneath. Let me know what you were hearing today, which of those sounds was your favourite and why. I love chatting nerdy guitar stuff with you folks down in the comment sections. But this pedal does sound very, very different at those 3 temperatures, doesn't it? Now, when it was red hot, as you heard, it almost stopped passing audio. It wasn't really usable, so I did have to let it cool down slightly, as you will have just seen. But when it was kind of still very hot, I still couldn't pick the pedal up, but it was passing audio, it was much kind of looser in the low end. It was much darker overall. But when it was Arctic cold, it was much more spitty and aggressive and gated. When you take a fuzz pedal, it has like an adjustable bias control and turn it right down to the point where it's kind of like a Velcro fuzz. That's what it was putting me in mind of. It was much more spitty, much more harsh. And as you might expect, the room temperature control was kind of a happy medium of the two. It had the aggression, but it was also warm. It behaved nicely with the cleanup. So we can make this pedal sound very, very different. But it is important to point out that whilst most of the differences you heard today will almost certainly be down to the transistors, other elements of the circuit are affected by temperature too. So as I'll show on screen now, if you take a capacitor and really heat it up, the capacitance increases. But if you take a resistor and really heat it up, the resistance drops. So other elements of the circuit will be affected by going from one extreme temperature right the way up to the next and back down again. So, you know, we can't say for sure that all those differences are caused by just the transistors. They will be a big part of it, but we can't rule out other areas of the circuit being affected by those big temperature changes too. So there we are, folks. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. As I said, please do share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section. I love chatting with you folks down there. But for now, thank you ever so much for watching, folks. Please do carry on subscribing if you haven't done so. I know I always say it. It does make a huge difference when you do that. And I will see you next time. Bye-bye.